do it harder than I want to do it to your car.
Fuck it.
Adigan, can you tell us what we're trying to do right now?
Trying to take the dent out of the rear quarter panel.
Through a 1-inch hole.
Do you want to give it some heat?
I think I'm like moving that hole around.
It's okay, you can move the hole around.
Whoa.
Damn, dude.
I'm gonna leave it right there.
This is gonna work.
Oh, general thing.
Let's shoot it.
That's definitely gonna work. And the ball's deflating. I'll try to move it a little farther. Do it again. You think you can get the big ball in there?
It moved it, but I don't think it's gonna stay.
No, I need to get a little deeper into the dent. Like,
Yeah. It definitely moved that shit.
oh, I'm just losing my trigger now.
Oh.
Like I'm so deep in there with this thing.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can. Oh, the ball's fully.
Dent repair went all right, I guess. It's pulled out far more than it was, but I mean, you can see it's pretty bacony still. My train of thought with that, which it might not be a good one, but it's a drift car, you know, that quarter panel will get hit again. And when that day comes, I'll just go to fiberglass quarters. You know, I'm really not that far off. I had thought about it because when I got the car, it was missing the front driver's side fender. I'd thought about just going with fiberglass then, and maybe I should have, but you know, I figured I had one good steel fender. I may as well just get another steel fender and run them until they're too bent up and I get too tired of fixing them, and then I'll switch over to fiberglass. Next up, I already pulled the MAF off. I'm gonna finish, it's one screw, but gonna finish pulling that off and then get it over on the bench and chop it up. My idea is this clamp is definitely, or not this clamp, but this boot is definitely not a permanent fixture. I definitely think that, you know, if this car was to ever get boost, or, you know, even if I was just to end up rebuilding the block or whatever, I wouldn't want to keep running this, but it's good enough for now. So with that, I'm a little, you know, I guess timid is the right word, to go the direction that I'm going. But like I stated in my last video, this was cheap, and as you can kind of tell, junk. It's just, you know, not to say a placeholder part, but it's kind of a placeholder part, just, you know, good enough to get it running and driving, and, you know, drive with this in the car for a little while, and as soon as I can, replace it with something else. This was actually about as much money as a decent condition factory intake was, so that's why I went this route. Either way, my plan is I'll measure out this right here from the edge of it to this ridge, and then measure from the elbow forward and cut at that line to give myself some extra space for an air filter. There we have it in the vise. I hope I didn't squish it too bad when I put it in there. Set my phone up somewhere. I'm getting a tripod soon, so hopefully no more bad angles, but yeah, I'll set my phone up, do my measurement, cut it, and then get this back in the car. There we have it. The cut has been made. Now I'm gonna clean that up and get it back in the car. It's kind of loosely just back in the car, but I wanted to point this out. So to me, this looks like it should have some kind of rubber isolator. And previously, I just ran this bolt with the nut and an O-ring below it to serve as my isolator. But I had replaced these radiator bushings here and still had the old ones kicking around. So I just cut the sides. I mean, you know, right in front of each other, you can really see. I just cut the sides here so that it would slide in, and that is gonna be my isolator for the intake. Now, I'm gonna get the MAF slaps back in. There it is, slapped in the car. I ended up having to make this little bracket here, and I just ran a longer bolt through the adapter here for an air filter and the MAF. You can see those are the factory ones, and I could even go a little shorter with this one and eliminate that little bit protruding through the nut, but I'm not gonna bother. It's not gonna, you know, it's not gonna affect anything that bolt's a little long. But with that cut and the brackets in place, I have all kinds of space now to slap a filter on there. And I did lost some of the bend there, and that is also because this bracket is definitely not long enough. You can see it's super close to the radiator, which wouldn't be a problem if I planned on sticking with this radiator in the long run. And obviously, you know, it took me a solid, 2 minutes to figure out that whole bracket. It's not perfect, as I'm explaining, but to make the right bracket would not take very long at all. But what I was getting at is I don't plan on running this radiator in the long term. Like, pretty much just, long enough to get it running, drive it a little bit, but that radiator, the factory radiator, is certainly not going to hold up well enough. So I will need to figure out a way to get this to sit further back. But it's good enough for right now. It's good enough to get it running. I'll cross that bridge when I get there with having to make that bracket. I don't think it makes a ton of sense to try and figure that out right now when, like, I don't have anything to measure off of right now. I don't know what I'm going to need for clearance from a radiator aside from what's in the car right now, which, like I've said a couple times now, that's not the radiator I plan on running in the long term. So we'll call that good enough for now. Next order of business, I guess, is going to be, I'll try and finish getting this in here. Well, finish, I barely started. I think I don't really want to pull the dash because then I'll have to pull this, I guess, I don't know if that's a kick panel technically, but I don't want to pull this. There's 2 bolts, one's already removed, but kind of right in there, and the other one you can still see the head of right there. I think if I pull those 2, I already pulled one, like I said, but if I pull the other one, I should be able to drop the whole steering column down. It's a day later, but I succeeded. I pulled this, like I said, I don't know, would you call that a kick panel? Whatever this trim piece is here, I dropped that. If you haven't done it before, you're gonna have, I think it's 3 on this side in the front, 2 over here, and then on each lower corner, let's see if I can zoom, that lower hole right there, there's one for the dash, and then one below it, one there, and then same deal down here. I only had 4. I had those lower corners, and then 1 and 2. I'm in 0.5. And as you can see, I got my nice suede wheel a little dirty because my knees are dirty. Anyways, I pulled that because I was a little worried about crushing it. I don't want to chase down any more interior pieces than I have to. So I just pulled it. And then like I said, I kneeled on it. Now that that's done, I forget what I was saying, but I kneeled on the steering wheel, and that was able to, the main issue with clearance to get it in there was the lever to tilt the steering wheel, was getting all this past it. But yeah, I was able to pull it down enough, and then I kind of just angled it in there. Also, I will note that regardless, I had to pull this trim piece because there's a couple little tabs on the bottom of the bezel that have to snap in between, they get sandwiched between the dash and that trim piece. But that's enough from the peanut gallery, so I'm gonna get it so it's like that, but I don't have to, just like that, it's done. Install complete. I got it in, everything's in. It's actually been a couple days. Don't worry, I haven't gone too far since that last clip, but everything is actually in, not just popped into place. All my switches are plugged in, and I just need to make sure that the tabs on the bottom are actually clicked in where they need to be. I don't think they are, judging by the gap I have right there. So I just need to finish getting everything properly in place and this back on there. I did pick up, you can definitely tell. Hopefully the audio is actually better and not just worse. My idea with the microphone is just to stop picking up so much background noise. Like, I know the heater, whenever that turns on with just the phone microphone, you can hear it. And I got a tripod as well, so I can set my phone up wherever I please. Like I said, I don't think things are exactly where they need to be, so I'm gonna slap everything back together. But since I have a tripod, I'm gonna set it up and do a time lapse from a good angle. Everything's now in place. The steering column, very sturdy. Like I said, all this is good, and my little under dash kick panel piece. Even I think the kick panel is kind of like, if you can see where my foot's wiggling, I think that's technically what they call a kick panel. But either way, that trim piece is in. I only put, like, I think there's only 3 in there because if or when I come across the steering column trim, that's got to get dropped again to get the lower in there. And honestly, I kind of think that the gauge cluster bezel has to get like pulled up to get the top piece in there. Maybe I can just do the same thing where I drop the steering column. Kind of hope that I don't have to do that again anytime soon. It wasn't horrible. It's obviously just those 2 bolts, but I did have to put some shoulder, like, man, you saw I was under there and like shouldering it up as I was getting my hardware in there. I don't even know what else I have for parts to put in, to be honest. I remember I can do all this, and I found my buddy Isaac was the one talking in the very first clip, this video. Isaac had one of his E36s in here. It got totaled. He got sideswiped, and it got totaled. And it was sitting in here when I got the car and had it all like completely torn apart. And my rain tray ended up in his car when he took it out of here after he stripped everything off the car and out of the car. And I just got that back. That's what's, you can kind of see it right there at the tip of my finger. That's the rain tray sitting on top of the car. So yeah, I'll do wiper stuff, get the rain tray back in there. There's a closer video of the rain tray, and I'm gonna fight with my wiper transmission real quick and get everything into place because this isn't gonna be super fun. The motor, I might have to pull it up. I might have to cover my windshield with a blanket or something so that I can move the wipers and get the ball for the transmission into that hole so I can attach the motor. But I'm gonna go, oh, maybe I can do a cool transition here. I'm gonna grab the wiper motor. Wiper motor. Oh, I need that. I'm actually missing one, so I gotta find something I can use, or maybe I'll just run it with 3. Yeah, it's gonna sit there like that. And another thing I realized, so these 2 right here, that split, coming out of the firewall there, that runs to that fuse box, and I've got it on the inside of the fender. And same with the main harness. I mean, that's kind of how it runs from factory anyway. Either way, the wiper motor wire, I didn't run through there with all that, so I might pull this fender back off so that I can run it through there and hide that as well. But the first obstacle here is going to be getting it attached again. That's in place. Things are feeling a little stiff, but I can, by hand, get the wipers to turn. So that instills at least a little bit of confidence. Now, for the first time in no joke about a year, I have to take everything off from the top of the cowl there so that I can put all my trim back on. There's that. As I was cleaning all that up, I realized my engine bay is totally filthy. So I'm going to take a quick second and just clean it up. It's pretty evident that that's not the most professional detail job, but I did find tons of other things to do in cleaning the engine bay, namely a lot of wire management. Problem area. There's a handful of things that I know I can delete out of here. Since I got rid of the AC, I can get rid of that, get rid of all the AC plugs. I think there's only 2 of them. I'll need to look at a diagram for the wiring harness. In addition to that, I need to figure out some way to properly mount the wires so they're not just hanging there. So I'll need to drill some holes into my inner fender there, properly mount the fuse box somewhere, as well as my little, I can't remember what this relay is for. I'm pretty sure that's wiper relay. I can't remember what that is right now, but that also needs to get mounted somewhere. I think there's actually, I think somewhere I've got there's a little metal bracket that slides in there, so I can just drill something, slide that on. Also, cable management, wire management over there. Right here for the distributor, I don't know why this wire got cut. I was not the one to do it, but that needs to get fixed, and then I can continue rewrapping that. Can finish my little bracket, and I can take off the bracket for the power steering because power steering is going to be in the trunk. And I need to figure out a tensioner somehow for the water pump because I no longer have anything to tension that belt. Either that or I find a pulley. I'd like to find a bigger pulley for the water pump. And more, I guess, arguably more important than a bigger pulley, or I don't know, about as important. It would be really nice to get this to just be a 1-belt setup since I only have the alternator, the harmonic balancer, and the water pump that will be belt driven now. And the alternator is the only thing to tension a belt for anything. Obviously, like I said, that's why I need to figure out a tensioner for that. But I don't think that'll be a today project. I think I'll be busy enough with that issue. All right, I'm going to leave the wiring stuff for the next video. I don't know. I think I'm already at like 20 minutes, and my last video was 30 and didn't have nearly as much traction as the other ones that were a little bit shorter. So I'm going to try and keep them 15 to 20 minutes for now. If you watched this far, thank you. I do mean that. Thank you very much. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And huge shout out to all the homies who were here last weekend and helped me pull this dent out and just we're here to hang. Devin, big shout out. I'm going to try and plug people's Instagrams, I guess. So shout out Devin. Isaac, as always, thank you, Isaac. Thank you, Isaac. I know you're watching this. Thank you for bringing me my rain tray. I love you. Dre, shout out Dre. Dre was here. Dre's a very good driver. And Bo, as always. Bo doesn't make enough appearances in these videos. Please comment Bo if you want to see more of Bo. But yeah, like I said, thank you for watching. Please stay tuned for the next video where I'll dive into some wiring management. Peace.